What's going on, Geminites? It's your boy Gem Mint. We're here with my new comic book day reviews for Wednesday, September 4th. These are going to be spoiler free, so stay tuned. First of all, I want to give a shout out to our boy Chris at Lost Dog Comics here in El Paso, Texas. Make sure you go and check him out. It's definitely my shop, and I encourage you guys to go there and help support the local community. Make sure you go there and pick up your new books every Wednesday. Tell them Gem sent you. A lot of good books came out this week. First, let's start with our Image title. This is Sea of Stars issue 3 by Jason Aaron. I think it picked up a little bit in this issue. This is kind of like Finding Nemo in space, but Nemo has superhuman powers. So it's pretty cool. Father and son are space explorers, and they get separated, and the kid finds out he can breathe in space, and now we find out, you know, he's super strong, and he can do things that you aren't supposed to be able to do. And it's kind of goofy. Like, his little sidekicks are a little goofy, and they're written a little childish, but I think overall it's artistically pleasing. I think it's very cool how they make it look like space is the ocean, hence like the title Sea of Stars, but like there's these big space whales and sharks and things like that, and it's pretty cool. So we kind of get a teaser at the end of this book on how this kid has these powers, so it got me enough to want to go to issue 4. Next up is a DC Deceased, A Good Day to Die one-shot. I'm not really a variant guy, but most of my Deceased are the variant that looks like this, so I ended up picking up this variant. And our man Chris at Lost Dog Comics, he actually gave us 4 copies so that we can give them away in like gem crates or in giveaways, or you know how we do. But this was a pretty cool tie-in. I mean, it dealt with trying to go to Apocalypse to figure out what started this kind of zombie apocalypse, I guess, just for lack of a better word. And you have Scott Free, and you have that whole kind of Mr. Miracle realm. And it's very much like the DC's version of Walking Dead. I thought it was a cool issue, though. I definitely enjoyed reading it. You get John Constantine, who's great in this book. And basically, they're going to have to try to go into the past to prevent this whole outbreak from happening. So it was pretty cool. A lot of action, a lot of suspensefulness. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool. It kind of exceeded my expectations, especially for a one-shot. All right, so we had 2 Absolute Carnage tie-ins this week. This was Scream issue 2 of 3. It was all right. I mean, the art was pretty cool. It kind of just shows more of Scream and Mania, and now they're, you know, realizing that Mania is a target. Scream is trying to fight the Carnage influence and the Null influence, and they decide to try to go into hiding, but they find New Yorkers on the street in danger, and in saving them realize that if we had been hiding, then these people would be killed, and kind of insinuates that they want to be heroes. Somebody shows up at the end that looks like it's going to make that difficult. The other tie-in was Symbiote Spider-Man #1, Absolute Carnage tie-in, and this whole issue, this was kind of interesting what they decided to do here. Who wrote this? Oh, David. I'm not really sure who that is. So anyway, they take an excerpt from Amazing Spider-Man when Peter has the black symbiote and the symbiote starts going out at night and doing its own thing. And he attaches to a tourist, swings through town, and then leaves the tourist there. And it shows you this recap in, like, you know, the original 80s kind of style. So this whole issue is what happened to the tourist, which sounds like it's kind of a cool idea, but it's kind of also as boring as it sounds. So the whole thing revolves around him, and immediately I'm thinking, oh shit, he has the Codex in his spine. You know, Carnage is going to kill him. But it kind of goes into deep as to what happens to this guy who he was actually a judge. I don't really want to spoil it, but basically it just follows the events that happened to this guy who was a judge who was traveling to New York, who kind of accidentally killed somebody and went to jail for life. So that's kind of like the synopsis of that. And keep in mind, he wore a symbiote, and you know, he's a target now in this book. So very little superhero action. There was only really some kind of symbiote stuff toward the end. All right, man, next up, the big boy, Spawn 300. Man, I decided to go with the ASM 300 cover homage. This was an awesome book. It has 5 different chapters, and each chapter has a different artist. You have Capullo, Todd McFarlane, J. Scott Campbell, Jason Sean, who else? I always forget this guy's name. Jerome Opeña, yeah, Jason Scott Alexander. You have Scott Snyder helping write, McFarlane writing. And it's 5 chapters, but really it's really 3 chapters with 2 little kind of 2-page chapters. But basically, without giving spoilers, the road to 300 was that Spawn went public with what happened to him, heaven and hell, government cover-ups. And it's kind of destroying the global economy because people are having little faith in the government. Now, everyone's pissed off at Spawn, the government, heaven, and hell, and they're all teaming up to go against Spawn. So we get most of that in 298, 299. This issue really just kind of has battles and setups for what's going to happen in the future of Spawn. So in the first arc, you have this awesome battle. Kind of reminds me of like Obi-Wan and Anakin in Star Wars 3. And we get a very awesome revelation of Spawn having to do with him and his costume. Fucking awesome scenes. I'll probably do a spoiler video for this with the whole Road to 300 and everything. But I would love to show those panels, but this is going to be spoiler-free. Flashbacks a little bit with Redeemer. Now, Redeemer is like the Spawn version for Heaven. And we see Redeemer go through a metamorphosis here, almost like a new character. And then in the J. Scott Campbell storyline, you get the same thing with the woman who's investigating Al Simmons. She basically has a transformation as well, and this is also a new character, which is a little tacky. It's kind of a little played out, but I'm interested to see where it goes. I definitely thought the artwork's incredible here. I always liked the storyline and writing of Spawn too, so no complaints there. This was an oversized book, $8, and I'm excited to see where it goes with Spawn 301 next. And I am going to get that ASM 301 cover. Last one, House of X issue 3. It's got to be the pick of the week. We had House of X issue 3 last week. This picks up directly where we left off, where the Orcus Forge is blown up in the section where the plane, where the X-Men plane has landed, and we see what happens to the X-Men in the plane, and damn, it got really real. And it continued to get really real throughout the entire fight here. This was all a huge fight with basically trying to destroy the Mother Mold. So I don't want to give spoilers. It was really cool what happened. Really impactful to the story. But we don't know what kind of life this is. This could be a 6th life of Moira where, you know, we'll get a redo. We're not really sure. But definitely continue to enjoy Jonathan Hickman's House of X run. Alright guys, so I'm still getting caught up with single issues, so I still have a lot of stuff here that I didn't read today, and I'll tell you why. So I got Immortal Hulk 23, and I've only read up to issue 16 of Immortal Hulk, or 15 or 16. I did order the 4th trade today, which will get me caught up to where I'm at in the single issues, and then we'll be able to review these weekly like everything else. The other day I went to the comic shop just because I was in the area, and I picked up Dan Slott's Fantastic Four issue 1, 3, 4, and 5. So I read issue 1 and I enjoyed it. It's funny because I just got done rereading Hickman's Secret Wars, so it kind of is like a follow-up to that. So at the shop today I picked up issues 8, 10, and 11 of Fantastic Four. I know 14 came out today, but he didn't have the regular cover, so I'll just pick it up later. But I need issue 2, and I need issue 6, 7, 9, 12, and 13. If anybody got a lead on them, holler at your boy, because I want to get caught up on Fantastic Four. And being that I did that, I did buy this stupid one-shot Yancey Street with the Thing. I did buy the Invisible Woman issue 1, just to kind of get in the Fantastic Four world. And I did pick up these Prodigal Son, Silver Surfer, and Fantastic Four issues. So I know that the Silver Surfer one came out like last week, so I kind of want to get caught up on Fantastic Four, and then we'll get caught up with that. Then I picked up today's new issue of Space Bandits 3. We have issue 2. We need issue 1 if anyone's got a lead on one. I don't care if it's a second print. I just want to read the story. I also picked up some new bags and boards while we were there too. So that's everything. Let me know what you guys picked up for today's new comic book day. Make sure you hit that like on the way out, and make sure to subscribe to the channel for more daily content. And if you're local, check out Lost Dog Comics in El Paso, Texas. Stay minty. Peace.